So Krishna, that gave a good sense of how the 5D framework was helping organizations reinvent, reimagine processes with AI and all of it. That's a lot of sense. If I was a business leader today, what do you suggest what I should start with if I want to start on this journey?
So as we discussed about the DPDP and GDPR, there has to be mechanisms. Now, till this point of time in banks, we had once put in information that's there forever. With the regulations like GDPR, there has to be a mandate for banks.
How would decentralization play out in practice? So as a final thought, Krishna, how do you see in the next 5 years enterprises approaching this whole aspect of digital transformation? Welcome back to episode 2 of Decoding Decisions with Mr. Krishna Potnis. In the previous episode, we took understanding of digital transformation, what is the need for it, what goes into it. In this episode, we'll actually understand with his experiences on how to execute and implement the digital transformation in enterprises with the advent of AI, with a lot of examples to come. Welcome back, Krishna, again for this episode. We had a fantastic episode, previous one. I hope to understand the execution of those concepts in the discussion today. So, Krishna, we looked at the context and the need for digital transformation, especially with the advent of AI. So, that's a good comprehensive understanding we got. Let's understand further, how do we execute on it? I've read in your writing, why do you even say even Agile, for example, needs to be reviewed for decision making? What's your perspective on that?
So Agile has been very big in last decade or so. And Agile transformed lot of industries, lot of companies. Because that's a need. What was slow there? The coding was slow, the development was slow. And what was the answer? Agile, 2-week sprint. Let's do one after the other. Let's release features. Now, whether that is required for us, that's a question. Now, if we are in the decision-making process, where the coding is done by agents, where coding is done by AI, whether we need to have those restrictions, guardrails that Agile put in, whether we need those ceremonies that Agile has to have, or whether we need to do something else. So that's where the old Agile model may not work as is. We have to change it a bit. Now we cannot use the same Agile. I call it as decision agility. So we have to get to decision agility model, where we decide on the decision making rather than process, which was coding, testing. You have to go through sprints, the cycles. You don't need to do that.
So how would you say the AI is collapsing the roles, whether it's a reviewer, analyst, approver?
So it's what I call nowadays is full stack SME. So it cannot be one person for one thing. So one person for one product, product management. Then for UI designer, there is a UX designer role. Then there is a BA. There is a person for development, QA, sign off, DevOps. So there are so many people. Now we don't need all these things. Am I saying that those jobs will be gone? No, I am not saying that. There is always this zero-sum game. Where these jobs will be taken by system, and then there will be new jobs. Like we have AI jobs. There will be new jobs, so people have to upskill themselves. But these jobs will not be there. So this is where I am saying collapsing will be there. Where there will be one full stack SME with a team of agents. When we move to agentic AI, we will have team of agents. So there is one agent to build the specifications, one agent to build the UI prototypes, one agent to implement those, one agent using a different model like Copilot to test it, one agent to DevOps, deliver it, deploy it into the cloud. So that becomes your team. So you are a manager of a team which is agents. So that's where the roles are collapsing, which is a change into the industry paradigm, where agile, the traditional agile kind of is thinking, I need to do something about it. Because how do I get all these agent to a stand up?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So that's where we need to think of different agility. So this is decision agility that we need to move.
So full stack SME, that's the word.
That's the word I have started to use in recent times.
Makes a lot of sense.
Which couple of folks really liked this word. We have one GCC meet last week.
Yeah.
So this is something that resonates with everybody.
Yeah.
Again, the problem saying this word is it's not going to eat people's job. It is going to give different type of jobs where people need to upskill to. To be suitable for this full stack SM.
True.
So full stack SM is a very promising job.
Yeah.
We can debate about it. It's a single point of failure or not. But it's something that makes sense in the today's world. Because you have documentation. The AI is doing code documentation like never before.
True.
Which anybody can pick up.
Correct. And documentation was always HDC in traditional stuff anyway.
We should have a documentation team. They didn't understand what the system does.
True.
But they have been told to write documentation. That's the problem. Now the system itself, as it codes, as it is implemented, as it tests, it writes documentation. So is a parallel streams going on? The team is working efficiently.
So in summary, the new decision agility process approach is quite significant difference from traditional approaches.
That's why decision agile than traditional agile.
How does, if you have to summarize, Krishna, how does the new decision agility approach, compared to traditional approaches, how does it differ?
So the traditional approach is more like a test match. And now we are getting into T20 era. 2020. We need to think agile every day. Every ball is a different ball. We have to play. We cannot waste any ball. So we have to be agile. So consider the same traffic case where you have a situation where you have a traffic signal, AI controlled traffic signals. Like in Bangalore. Before the meeting, we were talking about this AI controlled traffic signals, and then one traffic signal gets opened up. All the signals should get opened up, but that breaks because of the potholes. So we need to have more decision agility for doing pothole screening. So we should have maps. I think you mentioned about the company who makes electric two-wheelers, who actually maps all the potholes. There is a density of potholes. So pothole density. I don't think that that's a great way to go. We have to solve the underlying problem. But this is something, AI agility. It's a typical example of AI agility. Okay, this is a situation like this. Let's use the AI agility to decision making, give that facility to the consumer through the pothole density manner. So this is where the traditional and new, we couldn't even think of this in past.
True. Very radically different actually. Yes, makes a lot of sense. So Krishna, in your book, Connecting FinTech, and elsewhere too in your talks, you write about the 5Ds framework. Can you elaborate a bit on what the framework is?
Over the years of experience, I thought there is some model which is everybody practices, but it is not evidently written. Like we have to write this model so that everybody can formalize it, and people may not have to use all the model in the same weightage. They can pick and choose and use the right amount of things from that model. So the model especially has 5 Ds, as you said. Democratization, where the empower everybody in the loop to provide their feedback. Then we have decentralization, where the decision delivery, where the decentralization processes happen and decision making happens centrally, can be centrally, but can be consumed and even inputted by feedback from decentralized systems. Third is disruption, design of intelligence. So this is where disruption happen when design of intelligence, like we were talking about AI, this is a big disruption. When there is a intelligence design which changes the status quo, we have to have a disruption. And that's where the game changes. So that's something that we need to take care of. And fourth is the data alignment. We have so much of data. Yeah. Now, one department talks different data, another department captures another data. Now they talk in different languages. How do we even consolidate that data? Yeah. So there has to be some commonality, some relativity into the data. That's where data comes into picture to bring out some sort of pattern and decision making out of that data. And the last is the regulatory. The driven by regulatory. That's a 5D. And that's where the regulatory comes into picture. As I said, it's not a choice. It is a mandate. We have to have the regulatory compliance in picture before building any decision model.
So then looking at each of these, Krishna, how do they play out in practice? So for example, let's start with the first one, democratization. How do they play out in practice actually?
So for example, you take a call center environment. Yeah. Now, when you are talking about democratization, currently the call center or traditionally the call center have a set script.
Yeah.
If this is a problem, this is how you solve it.
Yeah.
Now, with democratization, if new model come in, the way they are doing is you can input more. Because there is this situation, I found out more information. You can add more information as a part of the operator can add more information.
Great.
So that gives input to the base model where we can improve the model as we go through. Because as we said, data has to be incoming.
Yeah.
So it cannot be a fixed problem and fixed solution. You have to have, because every day you are having new problems or ways to look at the problem differently.
Yeah.
So that's why operator can even input, and that's where democratizes the process. So essentially, operator can give their vote about certain things, comment about certain things, and that will be part of the model development.
Great. How would decentralization play out in practice?
So decentralization is a tricky part of the D model, because historically centralization is the way the world works.
Typically.
Whether it's a company, whether it's a government organization. But when we are talking in the realms of technology, the decentralization is something that we need to think of executing workflows parallelly. So as we were talking about, there has to be a synchronization between different agents to work, but at the same time, they should have an autonomy to run on their own. Yeah. So when we say that, there is a part of decentralization whereby each agent works differently. Yeah. At the same time, they synchronize. So for the technology at hand, we are currently talking about agentic, but at the same time, when we are talking about same piece of data or same transaction for that matter, we can consider the blockchain technology, where the blockchain concept itself is decentralization. And everyone can input, which is immutable, and then you cannot change it in the first place. At the same time, you can consume it based on your roles. So it's a completely role-based access control, and you can add. So take an example of a insurance claim, whereby you can, from start to end, the insurance claim can be part of this process, where every agent, where accident happens, there will be an agent to assess the accident site. From that, in the insurance company, going to the background of and reviewing the insurance claim and the contract, and to give the money back, the whole process will be agentic, but everybody will be adding into the blockchain additional inputs. What is their input into the process? That will be part of the blockchain. So there is a decentralization, but at the same time, it is weaved through a single thread. So that's where the centralization part of the thing works.
That's a great
It
scale.
is very important from fintech perspective because of the blockchain.
Obviously, it's a great workflow. And in general, even aside from blockchain, Krishna, I would think the decentralization is a very powerful perspective to the whole thing. How would you say the third one, which is disruption or the design of intelligence, play out in practice?
Right. So this is the disruption factor, which is, as we talked about, design intelligence. Yeah. So when we are talking disruption, we talk about AI today. Now we talked in detail about the AI. One thing that we did not touch there is about the reasoning process. Yeah. Where why the disruption is there, why specific thing happens the way it is. Yeah. So for that, the reasoning models has to be used. So disruption AI, why certain things happen. Whenever there is a thinking model or a reasoning model, we have to get to a root cause of why certain decision was made the way it is. We talked about the lending model using GST.
Yeah.
So that specific decisions are made on the specific data points.
Yeah.
Now this decision tree has to be exposed. That is going to cause disruption because there is a thinking model behind which is exposed to everybody. So there will be more thinking on top of it. Yeah. So on top of above, which is democratization, decentralization, and then disruption happens. Yeah. So it is a part of the overall design thinking and design intelligence.
So how would you say the data alignment plays out in practice?
As I said, there are different departments taking and gathering different data. Yeah. And there we used to call it as data lakes. A lot of information, lot of technology. There are streaming systems which are storing the data, passing the data. Now there is a problem where the older systems are there, which is very difficult to get the data out of. Yeah, but the data is required for pattern matching of the old data. Now, how do we get this data alignment happens? That's where this data alignment system work, where we get the data from one system, older system, and makes it adaptable to the new system. Yeah. So take example of the old bank. The core banking systems has not been changed for decades.
Yeah.
There are your account details are there for ages.
Yeah.
It has been augmented by, say, your Aadhaar number, your details. More and more, it's augmented. But if you want to go digital banking today, you have to open a bank account on your phone and start paying. It is very difficult. So there is a building of these blocks whereby there are agents who are using APIs which are bridging the old APIs with the new systems. Yeah, that's where the data alignment comes in, whereby you can use the old data along with the new data to make decision making.
This looks like extremely technology-heavy processes, whether it's decentralization or even the disruptive part and certain data alignment. They're all very tech-heavy things to be accomplished.
It
makes a lot of sense. Which brings the last D in the 5D framework, Krishna, delivery of governance. How does that actually play out in practice? That's a very...
So as we discussed about the DPDP and GDPR, there has to be mechanisms. Now, till this point of time in banks, we had once put in information that's there forever. With the regulations like GDPR, there has to be a mandate for banks where if we get the data and if I don't want you to keep the data, I should be able to tell you and you should be deleting the data and give me the proof of that. Yeah. So now you have seen the DPDP announcements where now every shop you go, they ask for mobile number. It will stop now because you cannot ask mobile number. The system is changing. The regulatory is coming in. DPDP is the regulatory for India, like GDPR for Europe. So their mobile number is something that is private to you. You cannot share it. Yeah, we have to have a different change into our UPI system for that. But that is a regulatory that comes into picture. That is going to impact hugely on this existing system, which you said, tech heavy. There is a lot of data already stored. How do we operate this? How do we extract it whenever a customer comes up and says, no, I don't want you to store my data? It's very difficult today, but we have to have those processes.
Could you share, if you can, some examples where this 5D framework have been executed in practice?
Right. So there is a NBFC where 5D approach is used, where they, as an NBFC, they have to go through all this. They are not as heavy as banks on the regulatory, so they could have a bit of a leeway there. But all the processes, right from your democratization, decentralization, disruption, everything is possible. Yeah. Data alignment is possible because it's NBFCs are relatively new than the world banks. And then we have the governance, which is a NBFC like a payments bank today. But they still struggle. Yeah. So you know the cases in recent times about a giant UPI player which is struggling to have regulatory meet. So that's where the NBFC used this model consciously to find out, okay, this is where I need to be focused. I need to focus on democratization. I need to be focused on decentralization. I need to be focused on disruption. It has to be the right amount. The amount of each of these D is something that is everybody has to take what is suitable for them.
I'm tempted to make a small diversion, Krishna, and with regard to another thought you've shared quite often. You speak about how the relevance of proof of concepts is in the decline, and today it's an era of proof of values. So when we talk of executing on these 5Ds, is there any relation that you might want to bring up on the proof of value there?
It is valuable for all the Ds actually. Because every D talks about value. Whether it's democratization, there is an agent working which is taking feedback from the call center operator. That's a value addition to the model that is being executed at the back. Decentralization, it's all about the blockchain. And that's important because the proof of value is in having that blockchain working across the platforms. Even blockchain can work across the companies as well because it's a decentralized system. Similarly, in modern world, using AI, you can build prototypes. Instead of prototype, you can become a semi-working system, which is a proof of value. So you can see actually system working. There are so many platforms available. Vibe coding, low code platforms, no code platforms, vibe coding platforms, whereby you can actually build things. But for that matter, we do not have to have everybody building it. So this is the critical distinction between people understanding how this happens for value and implementing it. So if everybody starts to go into LLM and make sure that LLM learns their information, and build your own tools, then every company is going to go into the loop. They have to use the ready software frameworks that they can adopt with their data, their processes, their regulatory requirements. And that gives, ready-made agents are available. Agents you take, adopt it, configure it for your requirement. And you can have this factory of agents which will be giving you proof of value rather than proof of concept. So your proof of value grows incrementally, and from your initial product, you can go to the final product through this agentic framework.
So you're also suggesting that agentic AI factories are probably one of the right routes for implementing proof of values, because rather than proof of concept.
Currently everybody wants to build their own agent. Again, is the question. That everybody wants to reinvent their agile process in past. Yes, you can tweak the process, but there has to be one process that is defined like that the agent has to be doing. Essentially, agent is something that is a goal-oriented.
Correct.
You have to have a goal to run the agent. The goal is defined. The parameters are different.
So Krishna, that gave a good sense of how the 5D framework was helping organizations reinvent, reimagine processes with AI and all of it. That's a lot of sense. So moving on from there, if I was a business leader today, what do you suggest what I should start with if I want to start on this journey next week? What do you suggest to start with?
So when a business leader like yourself comes into the office Monday morning, for example, the last question he should be asking the team that I need this dashboard or that data. It should be starting with one question, one brave question. What is the problem and how do you think we should solve it? What is the problem, basic problem, what we need to solve it? If we start with that question, the things will fall in place. We have to have questions, tough questions asked to ourselves. What is the problem in the business? That's where the gaps will be analyzed, and that's where we will be providing more inputs on the overall decision making process. Because if we do not understand the problem and if we do not acknowledge the problem, then it is very difficult to take any decision making process.
Okay, that's a powerful advice. Start with the problem, understand, ask what the problem is without any other precedent thoughts. So the next step there, if I did that as a business leader, as a next step, how does one move from pilots and into production?
Many companies stuck in this pilot punishment.
Yeah.
So they do pilot goes on, there are feedback, then pilot update, keep on doing pilot. So this is where we talked about the proof of value comes into picture. Pilot gives a certain value, and the value stops at some point of time. We need to be aware where the value stops. So we have to first identify and draw our value stream. We are going to get value from A, B, C, D. So if we are into the AI and agentic world, we have to have the value. So for that particular problem today, we have to have this agent. Now tomorrow, whether that agent is useful, we don't know. But currently I need this agent. Tomorrow I can improve on this agent, or I can have augmented by another set of agents working in parallel, working in tandem to get my goal. So that we have to have the value stream mapped, not pilot punishment. Coming out of pilot punishment, get into the value stream. First agent, I get the value. So for example, if I want to get a credit rating, again I repeat my stuff, underwriting, we have to have a credit rating mechanism, which is pretty mandatory. We have to have a AML mechanism, which is mandatory. So we have to get through that mechanisms day in, day out. Like we talked about the GST example. So GST example is something that drastically changed the way the overall underwriting happened. So we need to find that's only happened because the people started to ask questions. So what is the need of my problem? How do I solve my problem today? And what is my problem? And then I build my value. So the value comes, I move on to the next problem and the next problem. If we want to make the best all singing, all dancing solution at the start, then we will be stuck into the pilot punishment.
Interesting, Krishna. 5Ds, a full stack SME, a proof of value, very fundamental approaches as you define, and focus on the problem. So as a final thought, Krishna, how do you see in the next 5 years enterprises approaching this whole aspect of digital transformation?
So I think there is a sense of euphemism at this point of time with all the new technology, AI, which is a good thing. Because I feel that will stabilize in coming days, coming years, whereby there will be specialized people, specialized companies who will be building agentic AI solutions. Like historically, if you want a specific type of software, like for example, take a basic example, database. you don't start building your own database. You have to have a specialized company providing database. Then you build a schema onto top of that. You ingest data into that and use the queries to get the data.
Yeah.
Similar lines, we have to think of agents as well, whereby you get the agent framework, you get the agents, you customize the agent with your own data, with your own rules, your regulatory, and then use them agents. So as we talked about, there is an agent factory that there will be companies who will be creating these agent factories. I know of some companies who already do this concept. So instead of big companies trying to reinvent the wheel, they should approach these companies and use this as a off-the-shelf product rather than reinventing the wheel, which is too expensive, too onerous. You focus on your own business. There are people who will be focusing on agentic AI for you.
So Krishna, you mentioned about STAR. Could you elaborate a bit on that, please?
Sure. So STAR is a pretty generic mechanism where a lot of industries use STAR system. Situation, task, action, and reason. That's what matters, right? You have to have a situation, and to address the situation, you have to have task, which is goal-oriented, and then to execute that task, you have to have action, and then action culminate into result. So this STAR system is very important, and especially for decision transformation, STAR is required.
Okay. Krishna, thank you again so very much for this very thought-provocative episodes on decision transformation with a lot of focus on the fintech industry. Your vast experience was all evident there for us to learn from. There's a lot of things to think through and very implementable, execution-oriented thoughts on 5D and full-stack SMEs, proof of value, right? Each one of these are small universes to think through and implement for any business leader today. We had a wonderful session. Thanks again very much.
Yeah, it has been great privilege to be at CRM IT and talking about agentic AI and agents. Now we need to focus on agent factory, where we focus on more proof of value, agent by agent, after mapping the value stream rather than traditional POC concept. Thank you.
So data rich and decision poor, that's an interesting way to put the current perspective, Krishna. In the current scheme of things, what would you say is broken in the current decision making process?